Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered government officials to only use Russian-made cars. Putin signed on the official order yesterday. He said the move is aimed at developing Russian brands. However, Putin did not specify whether foreign cars that are assembled in Russia can be used for official purposes. Meanwhile, Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu visited the front lines today. He met senior military officers and took stock of the battlefield. Shoigu was also shown tanks and weapons that were captured by Russian soldiers. He interacted with soldiers and thanked them for their successful operations. Poland's Prime Minister said that the Wagner mercenary group had deployed more than 1,000 troops in Belarus. This is close to the Polish border. He said, and I quote, "The Wagner group will try to create chaos in NATO's eastern flank." In response to Wagner's troop deployment, Poland has rushed thousands of soldiers to its eastern border. Warsaw also deployed tanks and attack helicopters in the region. Hundreds of supporters of Niger's military government took to the streets yesterday. Demonstrators marched against international sanctions. They pledged their support to Niger's General Abdurrahman Tiani. Meanwhile, the Economic Community of West African States group said they will use force if Niger's army does not reinstate President Mohamed Bazoum by Sunday. Meanwhile, Niger's army has revoked its military deals with France. This could severely impact the security situation of the region. France has stationed almost 1,500 troops in Niger to fight insurgency and terrorism. Now they will have to leave the West African nation. A report by the United Nations says 20 million Sudanese people are facing a food crisis due to the ongoing conflict. The research stated that at least 6 million people were facing a severe food emergency. The study estimates that the food crisis will lead to more displacement. The total number of displaced Sudanese people has already crossed 4 million. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has confirmed that he will attend the BRICS summit in South Africa. The Indian Prime Minister confirmed his attendance on a phone call with South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin will not be attending the summit. He will be represented by Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The BRICS summit will be held in South Africa's Johannesburg from the 22nd to the 24th of August. The Supreme Court of India has revoked opposition leader Rahul Gandhi's suspension. Gandhi will now be allowed to return to the parliament. He has also become eligible to contest in the national elections next year. Rahul Gandhi had been suspended from the parliament after being convicted for making derogatory comments against people with the surname Modi. India's ruling party had taken Gandhi to court, alleging that his comments were aimed at Prime Minister Narendra Modi. More clashes erupted in the northeastern Indian state of Manipur yesterday. At least 17 people were injured as locals clashed with police officials. During the clashes, some miscreants broke into a police station. According to officials, various pistols, rifles, and over 19,000 bullets were stolen. A curfew has been imposed in the region after yesterday's violence. Pope Francis attended the third day of the World Youth Day celebrations today. The Pope is currently on a visit to Portugal's capital, Lisbon. He even heard confessions from people at a special booth. He is also slated to meet children who were allegedly sexually abused by clergy. Earlier, the Pope said that the Church needed to listen to survivors. Israel's Supreme Court began hearings on a series of appeals against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's judicial overhaul law. The case is being heard by a 3-justice panel. The appeal calls for the reversal of some sections of the judicial overhaul law. In September, all 15 justices will convene to hear an appeal against the law's parts that restricts the powers of the Supreme Court. At least one person was killed in a stabbing attack in a neighborhood near South Korea's capital, Seoul. The incident has left at at least a dozen people wounded. Police officials have arrested the alleged attacker. Authorities are investigating the motive behind the attack. The stabbing comes just days after another stabbing left one person dead and 3 wounded in the South Korean capital. Former US President Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty in the 2020 election interference probe. Trump was summoned by a federal court in Washington, D.C. yesterday. After the courtroom session, Trump said, and I quote, "Today is a sad day for America." The former president faces 4 charges, including allegedly orchestrating a plot to overturn his 2020 election laws. The most serious charge carries a prison term of up to 20 years. 2 US Navy sailors were arrested on charges of sharing sensitive information with Chinese officials. This was on Thursday. According to US officials, the sailors provided photographs of classified military hardware, including guns and planes. Authorities said that the Navy personnel were paid $15,000 in exchange for the sensitive information. Moving to climate, Japan's Okinawa has begun cleaning up the damage left by Typhoon Kanu. The airport at Okinawa's capital Naha has also resumed operations. Kanu has left 2 people dead and injured at least 62 in the region. The storm is now slowly heading northwest in the East China Sea. Chinese authorities have launched massive rescue and relief efforts in response to rains induced by Typhoon Doksuri. North China's Hebei province relocated over 1.2 million people due to heavy rainfall over the past few days. In Zhao city, firefighters continue to patrol the affected 8 neighborhoods. Meanwhile, China's Ministry of Water Resources has deployed 10 teams for flood response in various parts of the country. Footage shows landmarks in South Korea's capital Seoul appearing red hot when seen through a thermal camera. This is while parts of the country roast in temperatures over 38 degrees Celsius. Earlier this week, South Korea raised the heat warning level in its 4-tier system to the highest for the first time since 2019. The livelihoods of indigenous families living near Bolivia's Lake Titicaca are under threat. Drought threatens locals who make a living largely from subsistence farming. There is little food for livestock and growing crops is also difficult. The usual floods in the lake have been absent for the last 3 years, which has led to lack of water in the region. At least 6 people were confirmed dead in a landslide in Georgia. Meanwhile, 35 are still missing. The landslide occurred in a popular holiday and mountaineering destination. A local geologist has said that a landslide of this scale had happened for the first time in the region. Deforestation in Brazil's Amazon fell in July to its lowest monthly count since 2017. This is according to preliminary government figures. Satellite data from the Brazilian Space Research Agency indicated that 500 square kilometers of rainforest were cleared in the month of July. There is a 66% drop from the same period a year ago. However, experts say that there is still a lot to recover. Moving to business, according to reports, Chinese video platform TikTok is in early stage talks with regulators in Indonesia. This is to obtain a payments license in the country. The move could further the company's e-commerce ambitions in the Indonesian market. In 2021, Indonesia became the first market for the Chinese firm's e-commerce business called TikTok Shop. Its latest move comes at a time when TikTok faces intense scrutiny in most other countries, including the United States. The markets regulator of the US state of Massachusetts has opened an investigation into some investment firms. They are probing how these firms used artificial intelligence in their interaction with investors. The regulators are concerned about the technology's potential unchecked use. Letters have been sent to several firms using or developing AI for their businesses. This includes financial firms like JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. A court in Moscow has fined Apple 400,000 rubles, that's about $4,000, This is for not deleting content on Ukraine from its apps and podcasts. Russia believes that the content was inaccurate. The country's media regulator reportedly notified the company that it needed to remove the information. Moscow alleges that the content was aimed at destabilizing the political situation in Russia. Morgan Stanley has upgraded its view on Indian markets to quote-unquote overweight from equal weight. This means that it expects India's economy to perform better in the future. According to the company's valuation, India is now the top-ranked and most preferred nation among emerging markets. This was pushed by supportive foreign inflows, macro stability, and a positive earnings outlook. The Cuban central bank has issued new rules this week. It will ban state and private businesses from using ATMs and limit cash transactions between them. Cash transactions are limited to 5,000 pesos and will be implemented gradually over 6 months. The move comes as the country seeks to tame inflation and off-the-books business amid a grave economic crisis. Last year, the country's inflation stood at 39%, whereas in 2021, it was at 70%. Two private equity firms are reportedly in talks to team up to acquire sandwich maker Subway. These firms are TDR Capital and Sycamore Partners. Subway expects to fetch well over $9 billion in the deal. However, it is uncertain whether TDR and Sycamore can meet its price expectations. Reports add the sandwich chain may wrap up the sale process by the end of the month. Storage container maker Tupperware has finalized an agreement with its lenders. This is to restructure its debt obligations to turn around its business. The agreement will help the company reduce or reallocate about $150 million of loan interest and fees. The news sent the shares of the company soaring 57% in aftermarket trading on Thursday. Hyundai Motors and its subsidiary Kia are recalling more than 91,000 vehicles in the US. The recall is because of potential fire risks. The company has also urged owners to park their vehicles outside to mitigate any mishap. Kia said it has 6 reports of its vehicles catching fire, but no accidents or injuries. Meanwhile, Hyundai has 4 such reports. American automaker General Motors has criticized the demand of its auto workers' union. It said that the union's ambitious contract demands would hurt the company's ability to make sound business decisions. As per reports, the workers are demanding at least a 40% pay hike, including an initial 20% hike upon the ratification of the contract. Chinese electric vehicle startup XPeng's chief executive officer has come out with a statement. The CEO claims XPeng's partnership with Germany's Volkswagen will benefit both the companies. It also said it will also help promote China's new energy vehicles in the global market. Last month, Volkswagen had announced it will acquire a nearly 5% stake in XPeng. Moving to sports, in cricket, the West Indies beat India in the first T20 match by 4 runs. This is in the ongoing 5-match T20 series. West Indies won the toss and opted to bat first. They set a target of 149 runs, which India failed to chase down. The second T20 will be played in Guyana on Sunday. Tamim Iqbal has stepped down as Bangladesh's one-day international team captain. The 34-year-old will not play in the Asia Cup as he is recovering from a back injury. Iqbal had earlier announced his retirement in July but reversed his decision soon after. That was after Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina requested him to continue playing. In the FIFA Women's Football World Cup, 2-time champions Germany were knocked out of the tournament. This is after their match against South Korea in the group stage ended in a draw. Both the sides scored 1 goal against each other. Germany failed to qualify for the knockout stage after Morocco won against Colombia. Debutants Morocco qualified for the knockout stage in the Women's World Cup. They beat Colombia 1-0 to secure a spot in the round of 16. The goal by Anissa El Amari took Morocco through to the next round. Zambia's Women's World Cup coach has been accused of sexual misconduct. FIFA said it has received a complaint and the matter is being investigated. As per reports, the team's coach allegedly rubbed a player's chest after a training session. The incident was reportedly seen by other squad members. In badminton, India's HS Prannoy qualified for the semi-final in the Australia Open. Sen lost the first round against his Indonesian opponent but rallied back 21-17 and 21-14. He will now play against his compatriot Priyanshu Rajawat on Saturday. India's Lakshya Sen retired from his match midway in the first round of the Australia Open. He was playing against his compatriot Kiran George but had to pull out due to an injury. The scoreboard was at 5-0 in George's favour when Sen retired from the match. In hockey, the Indian men's team defeated China 7-2 in the opening match of the 2023 Asian Champions Trophy yesterday. The tournament is being played in the southern Indian city of Chennai. India had registered a 3-0 lead within just the first quarter of the match. Then, China scored 2 consolation goals. However, India pulled back with 4 more goals to seal the victory. In gymnastics, 7-time Olympic medalist Simone Biles is all set to make her way back at the 2023 US Classic. Biles has not competed since the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. She had taken a break from the sport to focus on her mental health. The US Classic will begin from the 4th of August. The Canadian province of Alberta has withdrawn its support for a bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. The government of Alberta said this was because of rising costs. Authorities said that the bill, which is estimated at $2 billion, is too high for them to bear. There are currently no other firm bids to host the 2030 Games. In the world of entertainment, executives from Warner Brothers Discovery claim that the ongoing Hollywood strike has saved the studio almost $100 million. This was just in the second fiscal quarter of this year. The studio's fiscal report said that they saved the most on wages and business expenses. However, executives of the studio say that the Hollywood strike was impacting the release of projects. Actor Jonathan Majors' domestic violence trial has been postponed to September. This was after the legal counsel raised concerns about lack of timely evidence submission by the prosecution. Majors is facing charges over allegedly assaulting his former girlfriend Grace Jabari. Actor Uma Thurman and her real-life daughter Maya Hawke will be seen together in a movie. The mother-daughter duo will feature in a dark comedy thriller called The Kill Room. Even in the upcoming movie, Thurman and Hawke will play the role of mother and daughter. A trailer of the movie was released yesterday. The film has a scheduled release of September 28. Thurman is best known for her performances in blockbusters like Pulp Fiction and the Kill Bill series. Singer Taylor Swift has granted Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's wish. She has announced 6 dates for her Eras tour, which will now include live performances in Canada's Toronto city. Earlier, Swift did not have any dates in Canada, despite the Eras tour being a global show. The Canadian Prime Minister requested the American singer to make a few stops in his country too. Trudeau even said that he was a Swiftie, which is the term used for fans of Taylor Swift. Actor Ryan Gosling's song I Am Just Ken has made it to the Billboard Hot 100 list. The song is featured in the Barbie movie. I Am Just Ken currently sits at the 42nd position on the music chart. It's now the fourth song from the Barbie movie to feature in the Hot 100 list. Other songs from Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish and Sam Smith are also on the Billboard. Singer Lizzo has responded to the lawsuit brought on by 3 of her former backup dancers. In an Instagram post, Lizzo said, and I quote, "I am not the villain the media have portrayed me to be." The complaints against her include harassment and discrimination. Lizzo, meanwhile, is yet to respond to a separate incident where documentary maker Sophia Nahali accused her of creating a toxic workplace. A district court has cleared singer Cardi B from an investigation. She will not face criminal charges now. This is regarding a mic throwing incident at Cardi B's concert in Las Vegas. Last week, a concert goer threw a drink at the rapper in the middle of a performance. In response, Cardi B threw her mic, hitting a woman who was standing next to the drink thrower. Amazon founder and billionaire Jeff Bezos hosted a much-awaited engagement party with fiancée Lauren Sanchez. Bezos and Sanchez got engaged in a private ceremony in May. The couple hosted a public party on Bezos' $500 million super yacht yesterday. Microsoft founder Bill Gates also attended the engagement party. The celebration took place off the coast of Italy. Adidas has sold off its surplus stock of Yeezy shoes. Sales generated revenue worth over $430 million. Adidas cut ties with Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, in October last year. This was over Ye's anti-Semitic and racist remarks. The Yeezy shoes were a collaboration between Adidas and Kanye West. And finally, legendary singer Freddie Mercury's belongings are up for auction. Thousands of items owned the lead singer of the iconic band Queen are on display in London. The Sotheby exhibit will sell Mercury's items in a month-long auction. At the heart of the auction is Mercury's black Yamaha piano. This was the same piano he used to compose the famous song Bohemian Rhapsody. Also on sale are Mercury's handwritten lyrics for the song We Are the Champions.